All right, let's talk about a feeling that every single one of us has experienced: being stuck. You know the one. It's that feeling where you know exactly what you should be doing. You might even really want to do it, but for some reason, you just can't. Today, we're going to dive into the psychology behind why that happens, and more importantly, what we can actually do to get moving again.
I mean, that's the perfect way to describe it, right? It feels like you're in a car, you're flooring the gas pedal, the engine's roaring, but you're not going anywhere because this invisible handbrake is pulled tight. And that feeling, it's not just you being dramatic. It's a real, powerful psychological response that can stop you dead in your tracks.
So, to really get this, we're going to peel back the layers of the onion. First, we'll put a name to that stuck feeling. Then, we're going to look at the fear that's usually hiding right underneath. After that, we'll explore what's happening when our brains just hit the pause button from burnout. Then, we'll get to the absolute core of it all: three fundamental human needs. And finally, the good part: how to get that motivation back and take the handbrake off for good. Okay, first things first, and this is really important: feeling stuck is not a character flaw. It does not mean you're lazy. It's a very real psychological state. And understanding what it actually is, well, that's the first step to beating it.
Now, this is where it gets super interesting. We throw the word procrastination around all the time, right? But that's usually a conscious choice, like, ugh, I'll do my taxes tomorrow. But task paralysis, that's a whole different beast. It's involuntary. It literally feels like the start button in your brain is broken. You're not choosing to delay, you're just frozen in a total cognitive and emotional lockdown.
So, if it's not laziness, what on earth is causing this paralysis? Well, a lot of the time, it's actually a form of self-protection. It's our brain trying to keep us safe from a threat. And that threat, more often than not, is the deep, deep fear of failure.
And there's a name for this: adichibophobia. Now, this isn't just getting butterflies before a big speech. This is a profound, deep-seated fear where your brain literally interprets the possibility of failing, of looking stupid, of not being good enough, as a genuine physical danger. And what does your brain's alarm system do when it senses danger? It slams on the brakes. It issues a hard stop command to keep you safe by not letting you try in the first place.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. So many people who feel stuck are trapped by perfectionism. But this makes it so clear. It's not about loving the idea of a perfect outcome. It's about being absolutely terrified of other people seeing you as flawed or imperfect. Perfectionism is just fear in a fancy suit. And that fear, it wears a lot of different masks, doesn't it? Take a look at these. Do any of them feel a little too familiar? That all or nothing thinking, where if you can't do it perfectly, you just won't do it at all. Or my personal favorite, analysis paralysis, where you research and plan and organize for weeks, but you never actually start the thing. These aren't separate problems. They're all just different symptoms of that same root fear.
Okay, so let's dig down to the next layer. This isn't just about an emotional fear. Our crazy modern lives can create a physical state in our brains that makes this paralysis so much more likely. Let's talk about what happens when your brain just gets completely fried.
Think of your brain's ability to focus and get things done like the RAM on your computer. When you have way too many tabs open, a bunch of programs running in the background, and notifications popping up every 2 seconds, what happens? The whole system slows down, gets glitchy, and eventually just freezes. Well, that's exactly what chronic stress and constant information overload do to our brains. They short-circuit the very systems we need to plan and take action.
And when we're stressed all the time, our bodies get flooded with the stress hormone cortisol. It keeps us stuck in this high-alert fight-or-flight mode, which is completely exhausting. It leads straight to burnout, that feeling of being totally and utterly spent. It gives you brain fog, it wrecks your sleep, it even makes you get sick more often. I mean, when you're in that state, is it any surprise that starting a new project feels absolutely impossible? Okay, so we've looked at the symptoms, the paralysis, we've looked at the immediate causes, fear and burnout, but now we get to the real heart of it. Why do fear and burnout have such a tight grip on us? It all comes down to three universal psychological needs that are basically the hidden engine of all human motivation. And this all comes from something called self-determination theory. Now, don't worry about the fancy name. The core idea is actually super simple and powerful. Just think about a plant.
To thrive, a plant needs sunlight, water, and good soil, right? Well, this theory says that we humans also have three core psychological nutrients that we have to get. When these needs are met, we feel motivated and alive. When they're not, we just stall out.
And here they are: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. These are the big three. Think of them as the three legs of the stool of your psychological well-being. If one is missing, the whole thing gets wobbly. So let's quickly break down what each of these really means.
So first up is autonomy. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be a lone wolf or totally independent. It's simply the need to feel like you're in the driver's seat of your own life. It's about having a sense of choice, feeling like the things you do are things you've actually chosen to do because they matter to you. Next, we have competence. This is our deep need to feel like we're good at stuff. It's that feeling of being effective, of learning and growing, and knowing that you can handle the challenges life throws at you. It's that quiet confidence of, yeah, I got this.
And last but not least, relatedness. This is our fundamental human need to connect with other people, to feel like we belong, that we're seen, that we're valued by others, and that we're part of a community. We are social animals, and this need is just baked right into our DNA.
Okay, so here is where it all clicks together. When we feel stuck, it's almost always a sign that one or more of these core needs are not being met. That fear of failure, it's a direct attack on our need for competence. That feeling of burnout and being totally overwhelmed, it absolutely crushes our sense of autonomy. Fear and burnout aren't the root problem, they're the warning lights on the dashboard, telling you that your psychological needs are running on empty.
So, the big question, how do we get that engine started again? Well, the answer isn't to just try harder or to force it. The real solution is to start consciously and intentionally feeding these three core needs. Let's look at a few really practical ways to do that.
First, to feed that need for competence, we have to change our relationship with failure. And this is where the whole idea of a growth mindset is an absolute game changer. Instead of seeing a mistake as a final verdict that says you're not good enough, you start to see it as data, as just a normal, necessary part of learning. Making that one mental shift takes away so much of the fear that keeps us paralyzed.
Okay, let's get tactical. Number 1, redefine your goals. Make them so small and specific that you feel in control again. This feeds your autonomy. Number 2, take tiny, tiny steps. Break that huge task down into something so small it's almost silly, like just opening the document. That little win builds your sense of competence. Number 3, and this is a big one, give yourself permission to do it imperfectly. Aim for 80%, not 100. And finally, celebrate every little win. Acknowledge that you took a step. That's what builds momentum.
And really, this is what it all comes down to. You cannot wait around for motivation to strike you like lightning. You have to create it. The tiniest, smallest action sends a signal back to your brain that the danger is gone and that you are back in control. Any movement, no matter how small, is what breaks the freeze.
So I want to leave you with this one question. Not what giant world-changing thing are you going to accomplish? No. Just what is one small thing you can do today, imperfectly? Because taking that one imperfect action is so much more powerful than waiting for the moment of perfect action that never comes.